Hi everyone, my name is Anna Ramirez and I am a student in the Faculty of Kinesiology. Today, I will be sharing research that addresses the prevalence of excessive exercise in individuals with eating disorders. First of all, I would like to define eating disorders, or EDs, as severe and potentially life-threatening psychiatric conditions that may influence the development of other medical and/or psychological afflictions. Individuals with eating disorders often present with maladaptive behaviors such as excessive exercise. These exercise behaviors can become driven and compulsive to the point where they resemble addictions. At the clinical level, it has long been acknowledged that excessive exercise is common in individuals that present with EDs. However, it is only in recent years that the prevalence and correlations of excessive exercise and EDs have been systematically researched. Consequently, there may be a need to identify and treat excessive exercise in individuals with EDs that needs to be further examined. This systematic review and meta-analysis therefore aim to 1. Assess the prevalence of excessive exercise in those diagnosed with EDs. 2. Assess the prevalence of excessive exercise by ED subtype. And finally, to assess the quality of the peer-reviewed literature available. Systematic database searches of the peer-reviewed literature were conducted in the listed online databases from inception to June 2021. Abstracts of 870 papers were screened for the inclusion criteria. That being, research including participants with clinically diagnosed EDs as defined by the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 4th or 5th edition, or the DSM-4/5. And secondly, the studies had to report on the prevalence of excessive exercise within this population. 153 studies made it to the full-text screening, in which the entire paper was examined based on the inclusion criteria. 60 studies were included in the review. Prevalence data and other participant characteristics were extracted from these papers. The 60 studies which met criteria for the review included 20,141 individuals with EDs, with a mean age of 20.98 years. The average Downs and Black score was 9.8 out of 15, demonstrating a mostly moderate quality across the studies. As for the prevalence rates obtained, pool estimates demonstrated that excessive exercise had a 51% prevalence in those with an ED. K represents the number of studies that had relevant data for the calculated prevalence rate. For example, in this case, we obtained prevalence data for all ED subtypes from the 60 studies included. The confidence intervals represent a 95% confidence that the true value of the proportion of individuals with excessive exercise lies somewhere between 0.48 to 0.54 or 48 to 54%. I won't be walking through all the K and confidence interval values, but they are listed on the respective slides. So for those interested, please feel free to pause the video and take a look. The prevalence of excessive exercise was also 51% for individuals with anorexia nervosa, or AN. And upon further examination of AN subtypes, it was revealed that excessive exercise was present in 47% of those with anorexia nervosa restrictive subtype, or ANR, and present in 45% of individuals with anorexia binge purge subtype, or ANBP. As for bulimia nervosa, or BN, the prevalence of excessive exercise was 44%. And lastly, excessive exercise was present in 38% of patients that presented with eating disorder not otherwise specified, or EDNOS. These patients are those that did not meet the criteria for specific ED as defined by the DSM manual. To our knowledge, this is the first meta-analysis to examine the prevalence of excessive exercise in those with EDs, and the prevalence remained high regardless of ED subtype. It can therefore be concluded that screening tools for problematic levels of physical activity and treatments to address excessive exercise in those with EDs are greatly needed. I'm grateful to have been a recipient of the Alberta Innovates Summer Research Studentship, thanks to which I was able to become involved in this research. I would like to thank Alida and Dan for the incredible patience and leadership they demonstrated towards me. Thank you for the guidance and also the opportunities to work independently and exercise my judgment at various stages of the review, such as during screening and the data abstraction. I'm grateful to have been a part of this mental health research, which I was able to complement with my background in exercise as a kinesiology student. Thank you for listening to my presentation. That is all.